We do have to find that working hands, though. We'll search the closet, because that'll help you out. Let me see those paws. Let me see those mitts.
They don't look so bad right now.
Oh, that's the best they've looked.
This one's always worse than this one. I don't know why. Maybe I washed this one harder because this one's always like way less bad.
I don't want to insult you here, but you remember whenever I burnt my hand on that coffee spill?
Yeah.
Remember how my hand looked for a couple of weeks
Your
after
hands
I'd
had,
healed?
like,
No. I mean
burns.
after I'd healed. After I'd healed, though, how that spot looked kind of grayish.
Yeah, no, my hands. It looks like I'm wearing gloves.
Looks like you're wearing gloves.
Yeah, I have a cut off on my wrist here. Birds, don't do that, please.
Bert, don't sit on that.
I will do exactly the opposite of what you said.
Anyway, welcome back to and another thing.
You can't talk about my dry hands on the podcast. I want your listeners to think I have smooth, silky hands.
I know you have smooth. Everybody's hands are dry right now.
It's not my fault.
Everybody's hands are dry right now. It was fun, and we got her again. We got her again this time. You even look. I saw you look.
I didn't see.
Did you look over here to see if I was?
No, I saw what was on your screen, but I didn't.
Hey, I got Jen Psaki over here. I got Jen Psaki. Jen Psaki. We'll have to do some.
I was like, oh, Jen Psaki's on.
Jen Psaki bombs.
Yes.
That was pretty good, right, Bert? Oh, he hates me. This cat hates me. Bert and I get along. We're fine enough. Yeah, we do own one. Bert did throw up this morning. So, Bert, this cat, very picky. So now, because this means we can't give him seafood medley for a couple of runs. Because that was what he had for breakfast this morning.
Yeah,
he
so
had the
seafood
medley, or whatever the teal blue one is. No, the Carolina blue one is.
Yeah, seafood
medley. So we have to steer clear of that. After Bert throws up a meal, cats throw up often. You guys know this if you have cats. Bert won't eat the meal he threw up for 2 meals. Not to say he won't eat the regurgitated meal, but he won't eat, let's say you gave him a tender beef entree, brought to you by your good friends at Shiva. And he threw that up. You couldn't pay this cat to eat a tender beef entree for like 4 sittings. And he agrees. So, anyway, that's been our morning. So we owe Bert a meal. So he's a little grouchy this afternoon. So don't mind him. As if they could hear him. Anyway. As if Bert plays an active role at all aside from producing on this pod.
We'll have to do a video podcast, but it's just a Bert cam. Like
just a Bert cam. That could be fun. We could do a Bert Kornacki cam. Maybe that's what this is all about. Maybe that's what the YouTube should turn into. Shout out to YouTube. Again, welcome back to and Another Thing. Your host, Vince Patrone. Bert Beans, our producer. Giovanna here, fact-checking us, keeping us on the straight and narrow, week in and week out. What am I covered in? Oh. Covered in junk.
Corn?
No. Well, yes, always a little bit of corn, but also just a little bit of junk. I was fixing my bike yesterday. I was attempting to fix my bike yesterday. We'll get to the podcast stuff here. Don't you guys worry. You'll have your news and politics soon. Just get off my ass about it. Okay, anyway. So my bike. Oh, anyway. So I've been riding my bike for a while. And New York City's roads are terrible. So my wheels are just getting destroyed. My rear wheel, I've had this bike, Miss knows what my bike. I've had this bike for 5 months. I have gone through. This is my 3rd tire, 2nd replacement tire, and I credit it to New York City's wonderful roads, really. But also that I hit every hole when I'm riding, just what I do. So yesterday my wheel was like pretty bent, and I'd already been advised a week or 2 prior when the first time my wheel totally wedged. If you ride a bike and you've ever seen your rear wheel get totally bent to like the left, so whenever it spins it rubs up against the wall of your bike or the wall of your brake more than it needs to, but most of the wall of your bike. That happened to me like 2 weeks ago coming off the Williamsburg Bridge. So I go to the bike shop near Williamsburg Bridge, and the guy's telling me that I a big, powerful guy like myself, his words, not mine, needs at least 36 spokes in his rear wheel. I go to a different bike shop to get a different thing done when I should have had the wheel addressed first. But
you did try to get the wheel.
I tried. I said, hey, I think I need a new rear wheel. He said, let's wait for this thing to totally bust down. So I said, all right, I'll raise you another. I'll break it next week. I'll break it in 2 days. So I ride my bike on what day is it? Friday. So I was riding my bike on Wednesday. I was riding it home from work. I must have hit something pretty good, and I wrecked that wheel. And I was like, okay, you know what? Maybe I can adjust it just enough myself, because Giovanna, for Christmas, got me this really killer multi-tool that has a spoke adjuster on it. And what that means is I myself can attempt to tune my wheels whenever they get bent out of shape, because when you hit a bump, it just messes with your tensions. And I'm sure Nick's listening to this saying, Vince, don't touch your tension on your bike rim. That's not for you to do. Leave that to a professional, someone who actually knows what the hell they're doing. And he's right, because I attempted to do that yesterday with a wheel I knew I needed to replace anyway. And boy, did I wreck that rim trying to adjust it myself. I have never seen metal bend like that or heard metal bend like that, because I could hear it going. You can hear it whenever it starts to bend. Man, I wrecked it, so I had to take it to a bike shop yesterday. So Trike's got a new rear wheel. Why was I telling this story? This had nothing to do with anything, did it?
Because you have oil permanently.
Oh, yeah, so I am now permanently stained with oil because I was at work last night and I said, Rose, do you have any olive oil back there? I know we have olive oil. It goes on the avocado toast. And she was like, yeah, so she squirted like a whole bunch on my hands for me, and stuff's still on there, so I'll have to talk to somebody who knows what the hell they're doing about getting bike oil off or any kind of oil off their hands, because I'm stained here. Diving on in now to the news. Oh, well, if you made it this far into the gibberish, you might as well subscribe to us. So if you're listening on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, give us a subscribe, give us a like, keep listening, tell your fucking friends, family members, whatever. Tune in. We're here every Friday doing this. So, diving on in now, we have had a very busy week. We're not going to talk about the stock market because we don't get it. I don't get it.
You would.
I don't get it.
Ignore it.
Okay. So, the gist of it is...
Oh, I had it explained to me in a very good way last
Then why don't you
night.
get over here and explain it to us? Come regurgitate some info.
So... This is from our friends over at Bust Magazine.
Hashtag bust.
Correct. But so they explained it in terms.
Do we know what Bust Magazine is before we put them on the pod?
It's like a fashion magazine.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they explained it in terms of if you borrow a dress from a friend. So they said, okay, so you borrow a dress from your friend and then you return it to Target where it's from and you get $30 back, the cost of the dress. And then you wait a couple weeks, the dress goes on sale for $15. So then you go buy it back from Target for $15. And then you give it back to your friend and you've made a profit, right? Because, shoot, dang it, I thought I could do it without looking.
Doing it,
I'm doing it. So then... So then you made a profit because you waited for it to go on sale. So then you made $15 and then you gave the dress back to your friend. So you made a $15 profit. But the other thing that could happen when you do that is you could have returned the dress to Target, gotten $30, but then they said, let's say maybe somebody at some award show wears that dress. So then it sells out of Target. So then the only place you can get it is on eBay for $100. But you still owe your friend the dress, so you have to buy it at the higher price. So then you end up losing $70 because
And you're out of dress.
Well, no, because you had to buy the dress from eBay. Because that's the whole thing. That's the whole thing about this thing is that you owe it back to the borrower, the broker you've borrowed it from. So you have to buy the dress back, even though it's more expensive now. So you initially sold it for $30 back to Target, returned it to Target for $30. You were hoping it would go on sale so you could make a profit. But if the opposite happens and the price goes up, then you lose your profit. it made sense to me reading it. Did that do anything for you?
I think it makes sense. Well, you explained it. I think it's great. But I still think you're out of dress then, too.
No, because they had to buy it on eBay for more expensive.
But don't they have to give the dress back to the person?
Yeah, and then you give it back to the person.
Then you're down $70 and the dress.
Exactly. That's what happened here, is that the Wall Street people bought and sold these stocks that they thought were going to go down in price. They thought the dress was going to go on sale, and they were going to be able to make a little profit off of it before having to give it back. But instead, their dress price went way up, and they had to buy it on eBay for more expensive, and they lost all their money.
So who lost money?
The Wall Street people.
Okay.
Because they were betting on their stocks going down. But then all the... Wow.
Goes, Dad, you get it.
Bert gets the stocks better than any
Bert
of
gets
us.
it
That's
better
why
than
he's
any of
been
us.
so frustrated. No, I feel like I get it. It's a hard thing to explain. Bert, don't eat that.
Okay, come on. Not how we address our frustration.
Bert's eating the plants now.
Oh, well, that came right out.
Well, there you go.
I'm sorry.
Well, no. So basically, these Wall Street people bought all of these little stocks at real cheap, and they thought that they were going to continue to go down, and they were going to make a profit off of them getting cheaper. But then they got way more expensive, and they had to pay the difference before they sell them back. So that's what happened, and I totally get it. So it's all good.
As one of the big players in the game now, she totally gets it.
I have no investments. You have investments.
I have well, I mean, as the player of the game, yes, of course I have
Oh my
investments.
God. I give good investment suggestions.
Yeah,
I suggested
we realigned our portfolio this morning. We realigned the whole thing.
Well,
Now
I
we're
suggested that
all in
that
on
propane
Grubhub.
thing for you.
Which propane thing?
What I don't know what the name of it is.
No,
but
propane was me. That was my idea.
It was not.
Twas not.
Twas not.
Twas
no.
not.
Because remember, I knew that outdoor dining was becoming more of a thing, and
that's
I knew
right,
that people
that's
were going to
right.
have to start buying those outdoor heaters. So I told you to look into the parent company of Coleman and those people and like whoever sells those type of heaters, and those have been performing very well for you. So if you need stock tips, subscribe to my YouTube channel. I don't talk about it on my YouTube channel, but we can connect in that way. And for a price, I'll give you stock tips.
Is that how it works? Did you insider trade? Did you just insider trade on the pod?
Is that insider trading?
I don't know.
Don't
listen to us.
any lawyers listening, I have no idea what I'm talking about, and I am not being serious, and I am
Oh, she's good.
beauty YouTube channel, so it wouldn't make any sense anyways.
She's good, but that's what's happening. That's all anyone's been talking about this weekend. Everybody is interested. It's very funny how this has been. It's nice that we've had this kind of. I know it's. See, because I worry. I do have my worries about the markets collapsing and then, like, everything kind of falling apart. Because I think that could happen. Like, we could have, like, a big Wall Street crash, like, in '08 or in any other time. Like, if we all started doing this. I think. However, it has been really fun and, like,
It's
a
been
good time
fun, yeah.
coming off of everything that happened, like, for the past month. Like, if you look at the entire month of January as, like, just a mess, you had Insurrection Day.
They were saying the 4 Wednesdays in January, we had insurrection, in articles of impeachment coming forward, inauguration. And then the GameStop Reddit stock market
the GameStop
thing.
short or whatever this is going to be called or
The short
whatever.
squeeze. Isn't that what they call it? Short squeeze.
I saw someone change their name to the Vander Pump and Dump rules, which is really funny because that's the other term, is pump and dump. So I don't know nothing about it, but that's been all anyone's talked about this week. At work, all you hear about.
And every day we get a little closer to getting it.
Yeah, every day we do get a little closer to getting it. Nelson explained it pretty well yesterday, but he's a fat cat.
I think the dress thing is, if you look up Bust Magazine's Twitter and read their thread, because I really did think it made sense when you think of it like actually buying something, because it's hard to imagine stocks for us, most people. I mean, it's not like a physical thing. It's all liquid, baby, right?
It's all liquid.
It's all liquid. So if you think of it like buying and returning a physical item to a store and the price changing, because like I know my mom's done that before where she's bought something and then it goes on sale and then you can go back to the store and get the sale price if it's within a certain time period. So basically it's as if like instead of the dress going on sale, the dress went way up in price.
Bert's
but you
over
still
there.
had to buy it.
Bert's over there saying, "Grandmother's very shrewd businesswoman." That grandmother,
she is a businesswoman.
shrewd businesswoman.
No, my mom would never let this happen.
What? She would never let what happen?
This. She would never. She's a couponer. This wouldn't happen with her.
Wait. She wouldn't short the markets or whatever?
No, if she were a stock investor, she wouldn't risk it like this, you know?
Like this.
She wouldn't take this risk. She would save her coupons and wait till the stocks went on sale.
Would never let that happen.
She would never let it. She'd use her Kohl's cash and she'd get a good deal on it.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Love it. Anyways, what else is happening? What else is happening this week? Then my Mets, of course. There was a meme of a funny alien man or whatever, some kind of like mannequin man looking thing with a Mets hat on, looking at the stocks.
Oh yeah.
That was literally me on Wednesday night. Because then, of course, obviously my man Steve Cohen, I know, gave some amount of money to the capital firm that shorted or was betting on the short or whatever. The Melvin Capital. I just know it's called Melvin Capital. They're the ones who lost the money on the deal. He gave them money to prop them up. I know, and everybody's been talking about that, but I don't know. Go Mets. Go Mets, lot of Mets. Go Mets, lot of Mets. Anything new in Mets land?
Oh, Steve Matz is out.
Steve Matz is out. That's kind of like a bummer, but also a relief that we don't have to watch him give up 10 home runs in Philly once a year. I feel like there's only one game a year where Matz gets out there and he gives up the, 6 to 10 home runs, and the manager just always lets it happen. And there he is having a full meltdown, screaming and yelling about what's happening to him, and the manager's just like, yeah, he's got to learn. And granted, Steve Matz has been pitching for 6 years now in the big leagues. It's just an annual occurrence for Steve Matz. So good luck to the Blue Jays. You have one outing a year where you're gonna see.
That's exciting for him. He gets to go to Canada.
He got out. Steve Matz got out.
Do they still play in Canada? Wasn't the Canadian team, they moved them to
Yeah, they were playing in. I think they were playing. I forget where they played their games last year, but I think they'll be back there. Yeah, I think that's the plan.
Canada was extra strict. They were like, no baseball.
Yeah, no, I think the plan is for them to be back. They were also trying to stop another sport from happening in Canada this week. Maybe the spring trainings.
Yeah, 'cause that's coming up.
No, that's coming. Yeah, no, we're not far from spring training. Not far from it at all. But in other news, Biden ordered the reopening of the ACA's federal insurance marketplaces for 3 months to give millions of Americans who need coverage during the coronavirus pandemic an extended chance to buy health plans, which is really exciting for people who are unemployed right now to go spend money on health insurance that they weren't eligible to spend money on before. So that's great. Been better to have seen him do what a few of the candidates talked about in the primaries, which was Medicare for all, or all who want it kind of situation, doing that since we're in a pandemic right now. I know that had been floated around, and he may have said he was going to do that, and this is not that, Joseph. They're calling us out, Joe. They're all saying it. No, because he did. I do believe.
Yeah, he did say
was that him?
Temporarily for the pandemic he would do Medicare for all.
Can you Google it?
What would I Google?
Get me a link. Get me Biden Medicare for all pandemic. Hell yeah. That was me drinking water.
Okay, I think I found something.
You got something here?
It's KHN and OK publication to read.
I don't know. Does it say anything? Is it a local news site?
I don't know what it say. I don't know what it is.
Well, while we're checking that, regardless of if Biden said it or not, other people had said that they'd be open to it. And it's probably something that we should do. Again, being that we are in a pandemic, we are in the thick of the pandemic. Even though we thought we were in the thick of the pandemic literally a year ago, coming up on a year ago here. Isn't that wild? Wild how fast the year goes. And when you mark it with pandemic days, it makes it a lot quicker apparently. Hi, Bert.
I guess that was never part of his plan.
Never part of his plan. Okay, that was never part of Biden's plan, but it probably should have been. Because it would be the right thing to do at a time whenever, again, you do have mass unemployment. I mean, heck, they were just arguing about whether or not... They were just arguing about whether or not they should extend freeze on evictions so that way people can at least have houses, homes to live in during the coldest part of winter. It is literally... How cold is it right now?
It says 23 degrees, but it feels like...
The doctors are saying 23 degrees. It's the warmest part of the day here in New York City.
21 degrees, actually. Feels like 7 degrees.
Feels like 7 degrees with the wind chills right now. And here we are trying to, just even debating whether or not we should allow people to stay in their homes during a pandemic, during a cold snap. And I know we're not having that debate right now, or having that discussion right now, but it is a lens to view it through. And it's just one of those things that, you know, it's common sense, and it's do the right thing and try to be better for the people that need you to be better for them. And that has always been those who can't afford to actually enroll in the ACA. And that's always been one of the more disagreeable parts of the ACA, is that the plans are still expensive, is that the insurance is still unaffordable. Heck, it's hard to pay for insurance when you have a job. Like, it's still, like, I split mine with my company, and shout out to the company for splitting insurance because the government makes them, which makes it affordable. But I know there's people that aren't working right now that are taking the whole burden of their plans, even though it's an affordable plan for some of us. But there's a lot of folks who can't afford even those plans. So there needs to be some kind of option for people that can't even afford right now to be on the ACA plans. And the only option for that is Medicare for all, obviously, or at least Medicare for all who want it. So moving on now to other things. Open hostility broke out among Republicans and Democrats in Congress amid growing fears of physical violence and looming domestic terrorism threats from supporters of Trump. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi leveled an extraordinary allegation that dangers lurk among the members itself. And just so you know, all of the headlines you're getting today are coming from our good friends at the Washington Post. I paid for the headlines. I'm going to read them on my fucking podcast, okay? I buy the paper. I get to use it. It's wild that every time I read a book, I start reading something new, it ends up popping up in the headlines. And it's been interesting because I'm reading this book right now about literally fights in Congress and decorum in Congress during the last Civil War, which it's been interesting to see it mirror the current times, and also puts it through an effective lens, I guess, to understand it better. Bert, don't eat your carpet, man. Hey. It might be time. He's eating. He's eating the furniture. Remember, that's why you get hairballs, man.
God, he literally went to the bone.
Anyway, so
Statement for the people.
Okay. Thank you, Bert. Because I didn't do it. Didn't do it. Wasn't me. So again, with open hostility breaking out among Republicans and Democrats, it's been tense for a long time with lawmakers, and the divides have grown more, and the discord has grown more toxic over time, you could say. And maybe that's more the unity Biden was saying he would bring, but was to Congress. But it seems to have gotten further away from that, and we know who Nancy Pelosi is talking about whenever she talks about the dangers lurking among the membership itself. There are real QAnon folks being elected to Congress, and we know one of the things that gets talked about on QAnon sites a lot is assassinating members of Congress, and we know that members of Congress have been trying to take guns with them to Congress for the past couple of weeks to try to get, and maybe had been anyway because there weren't metal detectors before, but there's metal detectors at the doors of Congress now. That way lawmakers can't sneak weapons in, that way people can't sneak weapons in. And you have to worry because you do have people like Marjorie Taylor Greene who have gone online before and liked posts about literally shooting Nancy Pelosi in the head. And that's her coworker now, and she's in the room with her. And you do have to worry that one of these days Marjorie Taylor Greene shows up with a gun, because clearly she's unhinged. Just look at the videos that are showing up this way. Oh, he's refusing it. Like, there's dangerous people now in Congress and in the House and in the Senate. And you also have Ted Cruz and I can't remember what's Howley's first name. I can't. Josh, thank you, and Josh Howley in the Senate discrediting free and fair elections without evidence, without any shred of real authority over the situation, rotting the minds of the people that listen to them, and the message board commenters who cite their information that they're getting from those two and what they're saying. And then you have people like Marjorie Taylor Greene who have openly talked about how, what did she say? She said something about a Jewish space laser or something.
She thinks Sandy Hook was.
And she says was it Sandy Hook? Not Sandy Hook. Well, she probably also thinks the same about Sandy Hook, but she thought Parkland, the Parkland shooting.
Parkland. She basically thinks like all school shootings are
yeah. So these are real dangerous people, and they are in the Congress, and they are in the House, and they are part of our lawmaking bodies. And given the events of a few weeks ago, you do have to take that into accord. You do have to. That's part of our reality now, is that there are really people within the House of Representatives and within the Senate that do not believe in democratic norms, that do not believe in democratic principles, and will argue cancel culture, they'll argue censorship, anything, to get around the fact that the things they are saying are dangerous things that have already led to death. We've seen now 5, maybe 6 people. I think it's 5 people, but it might be 6 people die from the Capitol riot that was caused by the president, sparked on by Josh Hawley and Ted Cruz, and supported and carried out by people like Marjorie Taylor Greene. And that is essentially that is the situation right now. And that is what the Republican Party is becoming. Because then if you even look a little further into the headlines today, Kevin McCarthy, the minority leader of the House, went to Mar-a-Lago yesterday and had a poorly dressed meeting with President Trump. Again, I said it on Twitter earlier today. Everybody looks like shit. All the Republicans are dressed terribly, but there's this one, and this isn't the biggest issue of this. There's this picture out there right now of Trump and McCarthy at Mar-a-Lago, and Trump is just wearing a suit that's too big, and as I called it, a piss yellow tie, and McCarthy looks like if he moves an inch, the suit he's wearing is going to rip to shreds like the Hulk, even though he's not the Hulk. There's also a funny picture of Matt Gaetz going around today. You guys will see that one later too, I'm sure. But it shows that the party has somewhere gotten, the Republican Party has somewhere found that the road for them to survive what is happening within the party itself is to go to the Trump side of things. And that is incredibly dangerous for literally all of us, because we've seen that the Trump side of things is Marjorie Taylor Greene, it is Ted Cruz, it is Josh Hawley, and it is bad faith actors carrying out bad faith missions that lead to loss of life and, in some cases, even mass death. Because don't forget the other conspiracy theories going on the Q forums where that wearing masks would kill you, and now look at how many dead we have. These people are a real threat, and they are now allowed to be in charge of our democratic institutions, and it is worth debating censoring people, and it is worth debating impeaching people and removing people, because what keeps getting lost in this, and maybe I'm wrong in saying this, is that there aren't as many violent militants in this country as there are regular folks, and maybe I'm wrong in that, but it seems wrong for the Republican Party to absolutely bend to the will of a select group of people, and maybe I'm wrong, maybe I am reading that wrong, and there are way more Trump idiots out there who support Trump and everything Trump stands for, and that's the way the Republican Party is going to end up going. And if that's the case, all Democrats can do is hope to just win every election that happens, and it raises the stakes for everything in 2022 and everything in 2024 and every election going forward, because now we see that with Kevin McCarthy going to Mar-a-Lago yesterday, it solidifies the fact that Donald Trump is the Republican Party, and the Republican Party essentially will flow through Donald Trump, which has always been, I mean, if there's a victory to be had for Donald Trump, it is that he is now, for some reason, the voice of the Republican Party and Republican Party leadership. But you could also argue the inverse of that in looking to Ohio this week, where Senator Rob Portman said he's not going to run for re-election, and everybody thought Jim Jordan, the obvious heir apparent to that, Trump sycophant himself. But he also announced this week that he wouldn't be running for that seat, that he has no interest in being the senator from Ohio right now. But obviously that can change. 2 years is a long time, or I guess he'd probably have to have his choice here by the end of 2021. But even so, it's raised the stakes for everything, and there's a way around it, and that's what we're seeing play out in the Senate here, starting next week on the 8th. Is that Friday? Is the 8th a Friday? No, that's 2 Mondays from now, right? I should just have a calendar open before I start this podcast, but I never do. Yeah, that's not Monday the 1st, but Monday the 8th. You'll have your impeachment, and that will be where you see where the chips are going to fall on the Republican Party moving forward. Not America, but the Republican Party. I want to make that clear. I don't think the Republican Party survives this. Because if we've seen the Senate's vote already on what happened last week, there was a resolution involving the impeachment going through the House or through the Senate, and it showed that there aren't the votes there from the Republican Party to convict the president or the ex-president, to convict Trump of his crimes and keep him from running again. And obviously they haven't heard an argument yet, and obviously arguments can change things, and I'm sure once the evidence is out there, maybe there will be some more minds changed, and it'll be hyper aware for a couple of weeks, and it'll rehash everything that's been attempted to be rehashed over and over again over the course of the past few weeks since the insurrection, because what we have to remember is during this impeachment trial, what will be best for the health of our democracy and the health of America as a nation will be for the memory of what happened on January 6th to be very fresh, to have had as many accounts of the day from people inside Congress, from first responders, from your Capitol Police, from Congress members, from National Guardsmen that were deployed, getting their take and hearing their words and news stories and op-eds in the coming weeks is going to be incredibly important, and having the story stay alive over the next few weeks is going to be incredibly important to keep that fresh in people's minds going into the impeachment. That way, whenever everything is laid out, they have practically heard everything already, and the argument has already been made. It is just being made with the flair and drama that can come with an impeachment trial, like what we saw with the last impeachment of Trump in the Senate. Those arguments can be incredibly moving and help shift some people. And who knows, maybe you can shift enough people to say, oh shit, that was Trump's fault that insurrection happened. And maybe there is enough support, enough groundswell support from actual Republicans around the country, and not just the leaders who speak for them, that maybe there can be a tide that turns and says, no, we're not going to let Trump be the Republican Party. But where things stand today, it looks like Trump is going to be the Republican Party moving forward. And as we knew, this was only going to be a short respite from him.
I think it's respite.
I can't imagine it being respite. How's it spelled?
Oh, respite is a word too. Let's see what it means.
Oh.
A short period of rest or relief from something difficult or unpleasant.
So truly a respite. All right. So we knew the respite from Trump would be short. Did we think it would be this short? No, but...
Respite. Respite.
One more?
Respite. It's pronounced respite. Boom, roasted.
A short respite. I don't think that's right. I think that's the computer. I think that's a computer voice.
The computer is wrong? Respite.
She goes, okay. Oh, look who left us a little treat. Anyway, there is also still stimulus talk going on. As we know, we've had to wait 3 weeks longer than we really wanted to have any kind of real relief given to the American people. But today, Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen, gotta get used to all these new names, new characters in the game, had a meeting with Joe Biden to express the need for a fast stimulus, a quick stimulus, and for it to get out sooner rather than later. As she stated, the sooner it gets out, the sooner we can get the economy growing instead of just being better. Get it growing. That's the goal of this, is to get more relief to people, extend unemployment, get the $2,000 checks out. And now maybe Biden will have a little bit more of presidential pressure, I guess, on Congress to actually get the ball rolling on this relief package and stop dilly-dallying around, because people's livelihoods are at stake. And maybe this meeting that he had today, he did just speak from the Oval Office, saying that it's imperative that this happens fast, and we get checks to people, and we make these investments so the economy can grow. Investments now will help the economy grow. It will not, in fact, be a drag on the economy, he said, saying that 900,000 more Americans filed for unemployment last week, and that 30 million Americans don't have enough food to eat this week, while interest rates are at historic lows, and the return on smart investments in the economy have never been higher. That coming from, apparently, Biden, I guess. And he cited the vast majority of economists on it, so maybe there is enough pressure there now for Biden to start really putting the foot on the gas on getting some economic help out to people, and maybe we see something happen here in the coming days or in the next few weeks, but who knows? A meeting with the Secretary of Treasury where she says, no, we got to start paying people is never a bad thing to have. So some good news this week. That's it for the pod. Thank you for joining us. I think we all had a lot of fun. If you've made it this far, you know what you got to do, or ought to do at least. You owe it to yourself to not miss a pod, not miss an episode of Oh, and Another Thing Again. Subscribe on Spotify, subscribe on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, anywhere you devour content, really. We can be found, so you should find us. Go back, watch, and listen to any episodes. You can't really watch them, I guess. Some you can, but go back, listen to any episodes that you may have missed. Catch up. Feel like you know what's going on. More Own Another Thing next week. Who knows what'll be happening then. But we'll see you there. Have a good one. Enjoy the weekend.